What would it be like to go back to the 1990s? Wouldn't it be cool to walk into an arcade and play a bit of Ridge Racer, albeit badly? And after that, how would it feel to drop down into a box-fresh Mazda RX-7 with thoughts of Initial D and Daikoku dancing in your mind at midnight? Well, we've got the answer with this amazing time warp of an FD. Oh, and we've also found something else that was born. All the benefits, just click on the link in the description down below. This is a very rare car. Not quite a unicorn, but pretty close. It is of course a Mazda RX-7 FD 3rd generation. And RX-7 stands for Rotary Export 7. And this car was indeed exported to the UK chips. And this is one of them. What makes it, well, even rarer is that this is totally stock as it came out of the showroom. And that has to be pretty rare for an RX-7. Sold in Mazda's Tunbridge Wells dealership on the 14th of May 1993, this car has just 27,000 miles on the clock. It's a proper time warp, and the standard spec for these official UK cars was a little bit curious. It's a mixture of the more luxurious with things like cruise and also lax rear seats, which has got these cubby holes back here. Not that those seats would have been particularly big anyway. In fact, the entire cabin feels pretty snug. I did look up the average height in Japan and it's 5'7" for a man and 5'2" for a woman, and I'm definitely not that. It feels, well, this wheel sits quite sort of low down in my lap. These seats are pretty comfy, of black plastic that tends to squeak quite a lot. There are touches that I suppose are meant to add elegance like these. However, I do think all these switches have a certain tactility to them. Don't laugh, try that. It's lovely, and I think in some ways there's nothing better than a Japanese 90s indicator stalk. So positive. Perhaps that's just me. I also have a very personal fondness, which actually looks green in some lights, and it's almost identical to the hue of my first proper mountain bike, also purchased. She came from Mazda's California design studio. With that flowing but tight, but what's it like to drive? I've always been really intrigued about the RX-7 because it's a car that I've spent very little time behind the wheel of. 550 R16s all round, so the contact patch is obviously balanced, and then you see how far back that engine is set, and it makes sense, but it just feels really well resolved. It rides the bumps beautifully, it flows down a road really nicely, and again that's perhaps not a surprise because you've got aluminium double wishbones all round, the dream in a way. £1,000. There is a little more lean than I was expecting, and to me it felt like the setup needed just a bit more support at the rear to give you more confidence at the limit, more of a defined edge to play with when you get the LSD locking. But overall, it does feel impressive. Through the bends, it's not darty, it just settles. You just work with that suspension, assuringly strong in this as well. It just helps you get into the driving experience more. The neutral, but the engagement of each gear is really nice. It's just a bit more long-winded than something like an MX-5, I think. B REW Wankel rotary engine. Twin rotors, 1.3 litres, that flows like a Porsche 959. It's both fascinating and frustrating because the rotary engine, but there's a reason why so many manufacturers took on the patent for a Wankel rotary and tried to make it work. It was only really Mazda that succeeded, but the physical properties of it is small, sonic passenger air travel. It's one of those things that we keep getting promised it will return. It didn't die with Concorde. Similarly, the rotary engine, it didn't die here, but it's sort of been downhill ever since with the RX-8, wasn't as good. Then we had the 16X engine, just a concept, and now we do have a rotary engine, the 8C in the MX-30, but it's just a generator. It doesn't power the wheels in any way. It is a tantalising prospect. The power outputs for factory RX-7s ranged up to 276 bhp, but this UK spec delivers 237 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 218 pounds-feet of torque at 5,000 RPM. Just the merest hint of a hesitation, and I've heard that in the more powerful cars this could be a little unsettling, but in this, not a bit of it. It doesn't make the slightest bit of sort of difference in terms of even if you're midway through a corner and